When I first opened up my copy of Spectrasonic's landmark keyboard sample instrument, Keyscape, I was, I guess you could say, reasonably impressed. Now since then, in addition to purchasing a new pair of trousers, I've not only used Keyscape for numerous little keyboard solo ditties, I've also used it a lot in full productions. And I wanted to make this video to show you some examples of how I'm taking these Keyscape sounds and processing them in different ways and using them in the context of different choruses and verses and breakdowns and maybe even a bridge here and there. Who knows? Let's have to jump in and find out. So first, we have the song where it's this very intense, dramatic thing, and there's like this interlude where it's kind of like the eye of the storm. It's a lull in this overall bombastic landscape. And so I wanted to have a piano sound that would be lush and mellow, but still kind of grand and cinematic. And so my approach to this is kind of interesting. It's counterintuitive. I decided that to get a cinematic sound, I would actually opt for the LA Custom C7 Grand Cinematic. I know that's strange. Still awesome. So we're taking that foundation and we're adding a bit of crystallizer. To me, it has this effect of like a flock of birds departing for the sunset. Farewell, birds. Don't poop on my car. And then a little bit of EQ just to change up the tone, actually kind of extreme. So in context, it sounds like this. So our next use of Keyscape, in this case, I had this chorus that was this very, just like grand, triumphant thing. And it was all centered around, musically, this original piano part, which had this high right hand thing that went like this. And so in the context of everything, I wanted it to be more bell-like, wanted it to really ring out, but then I also kind of wanted it to still be piano. So I thought, well, let's get the best of both worlds. So we whipped out the good old dulcet tone, the dulcet tones of the dulcet tone. Here we have the dulcet tone clear bells with the reverb turned off. It sounds like this. We take that, put a MIDI transposer on it to bring it down an octave so it lines up note-wise with the piano. Bring the piano back in. We get this lovely... I love that because it's chimey, it rings, it's sparkling, but it also has that kind of roundness and sustain with the piano. Really nice. I don't know why I made that. We're very serious here. So in context, it sounds like this. next excursion with Keyscape is the song where it was all based around this particular keyboard riff that basically goes throughout the entire thing and just has different variations on it. So I needed a sound that was really gonna pop. I decided on the Rhodes LA Custom Stereo Phaser, just with a little bit less of the effects. I'll just play you the song. I don't need to sing it for you. And later in that same song, when we have a variation on that riff, I bring in good old wing upright honky tonk and have that playing together with the Rhodes, which sounds like this. I have to say, this is an instance where I never would have imagined having a honky-tonk piano sound in this song, but it actually works super well, so props to Keyscape. Now, another use of the Rhodes. This is a little bit different. In this case, I had this chorus where it's a very sparse arrangement. It's just these lush strings undergirding everything, and then vocals, and then this melodic line, which goes... I later decided to cut out that second half of the melodic line where it's just like burping and awkwardly clearing your throat. I felt like it just didn't have quite the same musical character. And so this part serves as kind of like the rhythmic anchor of everything. It was very important to get it just right. I tried it on a lot of different sounds. I tried it on piano, it was a blang, 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 blang. Tried it on like a clean electric guitar, ring, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong. Tried it on like a plucky synth lead, things like ring, dong, 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 dong. Nothing was quite clicking until Rhodes to the rescue. So I took this preset. This is the Rhodes LA Custom, the basic. It's the one at the top of the list. Turned down the tremolo and brought in a bit more chorus. Now down here it just sounds like you're playing a little soulful ballad. You know, you're like, I have feelings. But if you play it up high, it has this bell-like quality. It's like bells, but then there's this kind of detuned aspect, so it's a little bit raw and vintagey feeling to me. And so you play that part up there. I love that sound. And then that, in context, sounds like this. For our last bit of Rhodes, I had this part where I just wanted to bring in this kind of interesting, ghostly, swirling feeling. And so I've got this Rhodes sound. Again, this is just one of the basic presets. This is the Rhodes LA Custom Stereo Phaser. But here's the key. We have this Space Designer preset in Logic, which is backwards. Turn that on, turn the dry setting all the way down, turn the wet setting all the way up. Nice and wet, and we get... God, I love that. Whoa! I should forgot how sweet that was. And so what I did, because I wanted this to double a piano part, but the problem with this is if you're just playing it, you hit a key and then something happens like a half a second later, which makes a little bit of a mess if you're trying to have things playing together. So the trick there was to take the MIDI from the piano part, copy it down, and then nudge it so that the MIDI notes for this sound were happening early enough that it could swell in and then still kind of line up with the piano. I don't think my hand gestures are helping at all. I'm just gonna... So in context, that sounds like this. Now, the wing upright is good for more than just honky tonk, Trust me. In this case, we're using the wing upright lonely basement. There's something about this. Like that to me is just so cinematic. It's got this intimate feeling, like you're in the piano. Help! I'm trapped in a piano! And so in context, that became this. And then for the chorus of the song, I started really laying into it, playing some chords, and especially when you get some left hand in there and really, really dig in, it's huge! It's like the beast is rising from the depths. Run away, there's a beast. Don't go to the swamp today, children. Woo! So that kind of became the foundation for the chorus of this song, which sounds like this.
Another trip around the sun, and oh, what have we done? Oh, you passed the only dreams we've won.
And finally, another use of the upright in this same song was to do a variation of that part I played you earlier, with just the right hand. Then I have a gate on it, so it cuts off unnaturally. So it's just kind of like pong, 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 pong. It sounds just like that. And we have a little bit of delay, and it becomes...
Somehow I thought by now it would all change.
Now this verse here in the song, it was very sad. Wanted a nice sad keyboard. So I turned to our trusty JD800 Crystal Rhodes and the vintage digital keys. The original preset sounds like this. No, it doesn't. That's no sound at all. It sounds like this. So sad. Why you gotta be like this? This one we're getting a little bit interesting with the effects. We have the Goodhertz Wolf compressor, giving it some crunch and lo-fi-ness. We've got this Space Designer. This is like a speaker effect. Again, more crunch and lo-fi-ness, kind of. Ooh! Ah! Man, I forgot how good that one sounded. Oh! Woo! Oh! Yeah! Man. Then just a little bit of EQ. So in the context of the song, it also has that chorus effect taken off, so it's a little bit drier. And just focuses in on that crunch. And it sounds like this.
Sometimes I still think back on the day that we met. The first time you smiled at me in a life that will never be. My way back to you, but as a stranger again. And the first time you smiled at me.
All right, so this last one was like experimental Keyscape production heaven. This was a lot of fun. So I wanted to have a pad sound for this, the opening of this song, and I was poking around in Keyscape, and I noticed there was this harmonicore dronescape sound. And so what I noticed about that was that while the opening of the sound is a bit more brassy, kind of nasal, that reverb tail, as it fades away, just takes on this like buttery round quality. And so I was like, what if I just took that and made it the pad? So what I did was I recorded each of the chords on the harmonicord. You could say it was the harmonicord chord accords, and I acted accordingly. Recorded each of the chords, printed them to audio, then edited out the first part of it so it was just a certain section of the reverb tail. And so that became this kind of synth pad sound that glues everything together for this intro. And then for the melody, I once again turned to the wing upright, took the wing upright mono dark preset, left it exactly as is. And I love the character of that because it's like, it's got this dark quality to it. It's very, very mono. It kind of has like a wing upright. So I took that, I recorded this sad little melody, and then doubled that melody with a lead on this Moog synth here, mellow Moog lead, and then also a Mellotron flute and a ceramic flute sound from Omnisphere, which actually happens to be another sample instrument by Spectrasonics, coincidentally enough. So we take all that, put it together, and it sounds like this. So, there you have it. That's a little taste of how I've been using Keyscape in my productions. As you can see, we have been getting along quite smashingly. This is actually only part of what I've done with it. I've used it in a lot more songs and a lot more contexts. It has been awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it gave you some ideas of ways you can use Keyscape in your own productions, if that's something you do. Or if not, and you just like Keyscape, or you like watching me diddle around, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you again very soon. I have feelings. I've got so many feelings today. I'm gonna tell you about my feelings at this juncture.